Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing some more Sovereign Syndicate. We're at the start of chapter 13, I don't think I've read this text yet, so let's do it and jump back into the hoofs of Atticus Daley. Waking in the Velvet Rose, you discovered you were robbed during the night. Your misfortunes continued with the discovery of a gruesome murder in the next room, and a talk with the always unpleasant Jemmy, who suggested there's a way for you to make good on your debts to Molly. I think we've read all that. Okay, what have we got to do? We've got to visit Nandy's shop. See if our gamble came in. See Molly at the tavern. So let's have a look. Oh god, he's got so much on his to-do list. Who said it was stolen by a seagoing chap? Yeah, I think I've fluffed that one. Crone, still don't know how we're going to do that. And that's the rent, which I doubt we're going to be able to do right now. Okay, Dr. Wainwright we need to do. Talk to Molly. Alright, well let's do Molly second, as that'll probably drive the main story forward. So let's go to the apothecary. Stop here. No, it wasn't the apothecary, was it? It's Nandy's shop, sorry. That's where we gotta go. There's the doctor. These two are deep in discussion. You could just make out what they're saying if you stay quiet.
Safe to assume that's Dr. Wainwright, judging by his vines and close rapport with Nandy.
Vines, clothing. I heard that one before. But I didn't approve any of the transfers. If those patients aren't returned, it could mean losing months of research. I understand your frustration, but there is nothing to be gained from a rising temper. At least the ambulance drivers were talkative. Well, they're my subordinates, and a sudden transfer like this justifies a line of inquiry. I only hope my asking doesn't get me deeper.
Oh, that's me spotted.
Good day to you, sir. Don't be afraid to step inside now. How may I be of assistance?
Good day, Miss Mabasso. I'm actually here to speak with Dr. Wainwright. If you can spare a moment, sir.
Of course. Excuse me. I don't believe we've had the pleasure of meeting. Clancy Wainwright, physician.
Atticus Daley. Pleasure's mine.
Well and good, Mr. Daley. But how did you know to find me here?
There's no time for particulars. I understand some of your patients might have been transferred.
Well, Miss Mabasso and I were just discussing that, and unfortunately I cannot help you. The order came from higher up. No one said a word to me. Rude and unprofessional is what I call it.
Look, chum, I'm looking for a Matilda Hathaway, my mother, in fact. Well, that ought to get his attention. If your patients are getting moved around willy-nilly, then I might not have much time.
Right you are, sir. I'm also concerned about the swift movement of unseen interest lately. One of the subjects, patients, was in fact named Hathaway, and the destination was someplace in Braxton County.
Braxton County, eh? Not much is out there, save for a few villages.
It's bizarre. Not one hospital in the county, and by far the largest building is Braxton Manor, a beautiful estate on the moors. If you're looking for answers, you might start there.
If Matilda was transferred to a well-heeled manor, then she could be part of something the lower classes weren't meant to know about.
Oh my, I've just realised something rather bleak.
The blood drains right out of his face, and he looks ready to faint.
Ah, okay. Our wit's pretty good. Ooh, success even on a 2. Very nice. I think as long as we didn't get the crit fail, we'd have been okay.
Are you quite alright? What's troubling you?
I may be putting myself in danger, but as I was telling Miss Mabasso, I'm tired of holding my tongue.
The doctor inhales deeply, his collar stretching tightly against his neck.
I've been invited to the soiree tonight at Braxton Manor, hosted by Lord Braxton himself.
Oh, I do like a party, but I hope it's not all fops and the well-to-do. I see that you're quite shaken. What is it you fear could transpire at this event?
I believe the patients could factor into the evening's festivities.
It seems the good fellow had an intuition and followed it.
You see, Lord Braxton is a member of the board at Bethnal House. He might have used his influence to have the patients transfer to his very manor. But for what purpose? I'm afraid my musings in that regard are rather dark.
Doctor, I can assure you I can handle your musings no matter how dark they may be. This is my mother's life we're talking about. Please, just tell me what you were thinking.
I don't know anything of substance, but despite his duties on the board, I don't think of Lord Braxton as a man to be trusted. If my patients were taken to his property, well, I don't care to speculate what could happen.
Doctor, if it's possible, can you promise me my mother's not in danger?
I'm sorry, Atticus. I wish I could make you such a promise, but in good faith I cannot.
I begging your pardon for asking, but could you get me into the party somehow?
I haven't the means to do that. I can't pretend to be your escort for obvious reasons, and you can't use my invitation. I am well known in these circles.
Oh well. Thank you, Dr. Wainwright. Your information was helpful, but now I must take my leave as swiftly as possible.
For once you refuse to procrastinate. Good.
Shut up, you old crone. We're trying to track down Matilda over here.
Alright. Let's, I guess we're going to the docks then. We'll go and find out about, well, we're going to talk to Molly and... Was the other one just look at our gambling thing? I think it was. I mean, Molly might have a way to get us in there. Hopefully going to get paid. There's an idea that she may just want to silence us. Everything's in the tavern, isn't it, including the gambling? So
we're gonna have a little snifter.
Need a dram or two?
Won't be needing a drink just now. Thanks anyway.
Oh, all right. Suit yourself, Atticus. Let's see if our bet came up.
Hello there, wager here to say how your bet fared.
Enlighten me.
Sorry, chum, but your bet proved to be a flop. Maybe you'll get lucky next time.
Oh well.
Let's just talk to Molly then, I guess.
Crows on the cross, how I despise this woman.
Atticus, don't you recall what Molly's done to you? Cavorting with criminals brings nothing but trouble.
Didn't I just say how I wanted nothing to do with her? God blast, that ruddy crone's almost as bad as Molly.
Atticus, you alright?
Yeah, of course.
You seem a bit preoccupied. Any road. Good of you to come.
I understand there's an opportunity for me to expunge my debt.
Oh no, it was Teddy she might have wanted to silence, wasn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately I need your services one last time, and then you can sunset as you please, among a vast pile of gin bottles and opium.
The dread penetrates down at my bones.
As you might already know, Miss Clara Reed was the very thief who stole your winnings last night. But I wouldn't get too nasty with her, because I had the tables rigged for you to win in the first place. If you ever want to see that money again, then hear me out.
Cursed fates. Someday I'll have the chance to shut Molly's mouth for good. And I owe Clara Reed a few choice words as well.
I need you to dash over to Braxton Manor. Take the ferry to Braxton Village and you can't miss it.
It was a good thing I'm already headed to the manor. I can catch the ferry down at the wharf. It'll be on the docks just across from the tavern.
A man called Fullervold is something of mine. You'll find him in the basement laboratory at the manor. He's been spending a lot of time there lately.
Surely that can't be all.
He's my bright boy. Fullervold, baby, how shall I put this, reluctant to oblige.
I've cracked enough skulls in the past, what's one more?
Now that's the spirit. Resort to any method you prefer, just get my property.
How am I supposed to separate this fellow from your property?
Come, we both know you're an old hand at this. Talk some sense into the fellow, and if necessary, kick it into him.
How much blood have I spilled over the years trying to stay ahead of my debts, and somehow always failing? What am I fetching for you? It's not money, I take it.
Don't go muddle your head before the fun starts. Fullervold will know what you're after when you arrive, and there's nothing you can smoke or ingest, mind.
Aye, well, I'll do what I have to.
Don't look so glum. This time tomorrow you'll be a free minotaur, as free as you've ever been.
Thanks, Mole. You're a sweetheart.
Don't get cheeky or I'll have Sweet Cherry put a hole in your heart bigger than the one Ariana left.
How does she know about... Yeah, it's no matter, I've moved on. Eat dirt, Miss Molly, and try not to break a tooth on the gravel.
It's a shame you don't channel that anger into something productive.
Wait a minute, we're not finished here.
Spit and hellfire, get on with it.
Molly, you're well informed in the East End. What do you know about the orphans kidnapped from the Sacred Heart?
Kidnapped? Oh, what an imagination you have. Why would anyone go to the trouble of snatching a ragamuffin when you could buy a week's work from one of them for a shilling? Besides, orphans run off all the time.
All true, but the evidence points to an abduction and some undoubtedly sinister fate for these particular children.
Well, all right. Your missing little friends may have something to do with the job we've been discussing.
Do you mean they could be at the manor?
Never said that. Those orphans are indirectly related, if related at all.
Well, either I was born hornless or those ragamuffins are at the manor. So that's at least something to go off.
Now, quit dawdling, Daley. What else do you need? Oh, we could try and ask about her other endeavours. Ah, we passed.
How's business going otherwise?
Smoothly. I happen to run a few distilleries in the underground. Obviously telling you about it doesn't do justice to the final product.
The final product being...
O'Grady's gin. Cove, who supervises the operation in my absence, isn't the sharpest tool in the woodshed. But at least he does things by my book.
Now that bottle I found while roving about in the sewers. Molly, I must say your name is quite literally popping up.
As if it were highlighted. Well, I paid to have it glossarised. Okay. Very good.
Here we are at the Crimson Herring Tavern after all. Molly gets whatever she wants from the higher-ups.
Okay. Crimson Herring being the developers of the game. That's quite a funny little joke. Molly, Molly, Molly. Every time someone says it, my notoriety gets a boost.
Well, that's rather flash. Got to get my name that way as well.
You're not important enough. Who knows if you'll survive the evening?
That's one hell of a dog you have there, Molly.
Hell's a good way to put it. He's a cross between a black dog and a hellhound.
What's his name?
Atticus.
What?
I'm taking the mickey. His name's Hercules. Got him a couple of years back at the Demon Dog Show. God knows what a rum fun those are.
Well, she's not wrong there. I love seeing a Pomeranian go right up in smoke.
Any road, I saw this fellow making his way through all the obstacles without missing a beat. Bunch of muckety-mucks were there, including Silas Bragg. He's a fan of these rare beauties too.
Rats mingling with crows.
Divine thing to watch. Beast who obeys their master without hesitation. Like a lot of folks who work for yours truly.
I can attest to that. Many times I've quit a job for Molly when it became too damn brutal.
So I spoke to the owner. Son of a bloody cane rat wouldn't give him away. Sentimental attachment, he said.
I have a feeling this is where Jemmy comes in.
So I Jemmy show him a whole new perspective, so to speak. One that looks up at the daisies from 6 feet under. And now the dog's mine.
Fascinating story. What's the dog trained for?
Killing, of course. Other dogs mostly. Although he's rather poor at rat baiting. Things are just too small to give him much interest.
Molly likes the sound of her own voice, though. I get the feeling she's told this story many times. Alright, forget it. See you later, Molly.
Right, well, I guess all that remains is for us to get on that ferry. If all roads lead to the manor. How much money do we actually have in our pockets? 13 shillings. All right. Hopefully that's enough for a ferry ticket. I've been through Atticus's inventory, just trying to give him as many sort of stat boosts as I can. He doesn't need the hope, he's pretty high on that. Yeah, I think I've done all that with him. Okay, ferry.
Better make sure I'm done with what I need to get done in London. Once I'm way out in Braxton, I don't know when I'll make it back. Tomorrow, next week. Yeah, if the party's a good one.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Atticus. There's still much to be done. In sober fashion, that is. Yeah, look at my journal then. It's given me a chance to finish stuff, but take the ferry. Pay on Selena, don't have the cash for that. Crone's ongoing. Missing Orphans Manor. I think I blew this one. Gin Collector is an ongoing one. And locate a witness. Witness one of the killings. I mean, Clara's on the courtesan killer case, isn't she? So I think that we're going to take the ferry.
The suspense is terrible. I hope it will last. That's Oscar Wilde. I thought it was Willy Wonka. I guess he was quoting Oscar Wilde. I never knew. All right, Clara Reed, Chapter 14, Braxton Manor. Following up on a hint from Molly, you learned from Ivana that the courtesan killer's letter is a fake. Every clue is bringing you closer to the culprit, a feeling that is full of excitement and danger. You picked up your costume for the party at the manor, then embarked with Tenor and Iron Bear on the ferry. The manor moves with a life of its own. Lord Braxton has pulled strings to divert hydroelectric power from the nearest dam, making it the first English house to be wholly lit by water-spun turbines. Hasty liaisons of gentlemen and escorts creep down the rose garden path every night, Lord Braxton's love of soirees being unending. Also unending is Lord Braxton's desire to flaunt his status, with paper lanterns, bonfires, and even dirigibles gracing the manor's grounds and skies whenever special occasions unfold behind the manor's closed doors. This place is an ode to wealth and to detachment from the harsh realities of London life.
Why, what a cosy little estate.
Particularly in this dreary rain. Cosy is not how I would describe Braxton Manor, just up the hill from the ferry dock.
Clara Reed, piss off, you louts, out of my way. What in the Sam Hill is all the racket? Clara, my dear, seems like there's some poorhouse chap shouting for you. Clara Reed. And who might you be, lad?
This is Atticus Daley, a customer of mine.
Customer? Apologies, Clara Reed, I didn't know your normal fee was everything a man has plus the bag it's in.
Just my luck to run into him here.
I heard of your run-in with Jemmy last night, one of my own, in fact. I know the Whittings were part of Molly's ploy.
All the same, perhaps an apology is in order.
Ooh, she's doing really well on her stats.
Yeah, well, I suppose that might go some way towards settling things between us, though I can't say I enjoy being rooked while on the nod.
Such is the way of things in our dear city, Mr. Daley.
Now, sweet pea, if I follow this nice and clear, am I to understand that you hornswoggled this cowboy, in the most literal sense, mind you, as he slept? Yeah, that's about the gist of it. Ooh, ain't that a proper outlaw move? That's my Spitfire adventurers at work.
Mr. Daley is practically fuming. Tenor's laughter fades, perhaps noticing he's crossed a line. I know you're facing some rather rough times as of late. Perhaps my dove Tenor might take pity on your situation as an olive branch of sorts.
Woohoo! Well, why not? If my little Spitfire wants it, then I could see my way to giving one of her friends a leg up. What do you say there, Sprout? Consider it a thank you for the fine story.
Atticus may not be thrilled with Tenor's temperament, but he's not so proud as to look a gift horse in the mouth.
Well, yeah, I'd be open to the idea.
Tenor makes a big show of fishing out a banknote.
There you up, £5. Now don't spend it all at once. Now, come on, Spitfire, let's get a move on. Miss Reed, before I forget, one last thing, though perhaps it doesn't matter much in the end.
Yeah?
Well, I was the one who stumbled upon the body of your co-worker this morning, and I thought I should tell someone who might care.
As it happens, I've been looking into the murders myself. And the information he has could be pertinent. Let's hear him out. What would you like to share?
Well, the body was a wreck, and the furniture was all topsy-turvy as if it had been thrown about.
I saw much the same in my own investigation.
What struck me as odd, though, was the smell in the room, and I bet it had blown off by the time the coppers showed up.
A particular smell?
Yeah, it smelled like perfume or incense, strong notes of bergamot and rose. Familiar enough in a bordello, but I thought I might mention it anyway.
Bergamot and rose, most likely fleur de Bulgari. It's quite a popular scent, so I'm not sure it's much of a lead.
We could do the polymath one, though. Let's flip a coin.
Fleur de Bulgari. Why is that familiar?
I think it's Madame Zora's scent, isn't it?
There's only one person in the rose who wears that scent, Madame Zora herself. Suspicious to say the least. I should track her down post-haste. Thank you, Atticus. This information may yet prove useful.
Yeah, good luck to you then. I hope you catch the wretch and put a stop to these killings.
Shall we take the coach? The rain is really coming down.
Daley boy, you'll be catching the next one, eh? Not enough room for all of us. Sure, I'll wait for the next one. See if I can't scare up a bottle of gin in the meantime.
Safe travels, Atticus.
Alrighty. Onto the manor.
Fresh air makes a nice change from London. No offense, Miss Reed.
None taken. London is not my city, born nor raised. It's merely where I've spent the last few years.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that, Sweet Pea. Quite glad. If you'd be so inclined, I'd love to treat you to the big blue skies of Texas someday.
Not exactly subtle about it.
If I find myself in the area, suppose I might allow myself a tour.
Woo-hoo, you'd love it, Spitfire. I'll take you on a proper riverboat. None of those meandering steam machines. We'll take a gas-powered boat up the Mississippi. Now that's power for you.
And I'm quite sure the freshness of the river does not suffer for it. Not that I've a leg to stand on after living with the miasma of the Thames.
I've been making a killing selling to the Cajuns. Yeah, we're working up a seaworthy version, you know. See, if we can't get the Seminole Peninsula hooked, perhaps the Zulu in time.
I'm afraid I didn't venture very far south in my younger years. I've no small familiarity with the coast, Boston, Philadelphia and the like.
A stretch of years in New York, better off forgotten.
At this point, I'm more familiar with the south of Europe than the continent where I was born.
Ah, what a travesty. You Americans, as I can tell from your accent, are so insular.
You Americans? Where's he from then? He's from Texas, isn't he? Maybe Texas isn't included as part of America. Maybe at this point in history, I don't know. Or in the fantasy of this universe, I'm not sure.
The Republic of Texas would welcome you with open arms, Miss Reed, particularly with a gentleman entrepreneur of my caliber on your arm.
His wink is so ostentatious as to be comical. I suspect this is how he charms all his marks, lowers their guard. My family was from Acadia, which is a French colony on the northeastern coast of North America with strong trade connections to the Wabanaki Confederacy.
So maybe she should be French. I have no idea what her accent should be.
I recall precious little from the time prior to our move south, when I was but a tyke. Not American then, not originally, though I take your meaning, all the same.
Well then, my friends, shall we make our grand entrance?
Yeah, let's head inside.
Rest assured, this is not the last time you've heard of the miracle of gasoline combustion. I'll have these highfalutin London types hooked soon enough.
The manor is full of richly carpeted hallways and Egyptian statues on display for tonight's party. The windows are as high as single-story buildings, bathing every room in pale cobalt moonlight. Portraits of the Bragg family line the walls, painting every member in positive and irreproachable strokes. The house itself seems like a monument to opulence, reminding guests of the wealth and power of their host. Lord Silas Bragg was gifted the property when he earned his lordship, but due to tensions between the original owner and a string of uncooperative architects, the manor came together piecemeal over more than a decade of building. Lacking a unified structure, some staircases lead to dead ends. There are many empty door frames in the underground chambers, rumoured to connect with a tunnel system leading back to London. What such a system would be used for is anyone's guess.
Introducing Mr. Tenor Cunningham, visiting from the Republic of Texas. Mr. Cunningham's companion, Mr. Ironbear of the Comanche, and Miss Clara Reed of London.
Is that Lady Braxton? I wonder if she is half as eccentric as her dear husband. Miss Reed, Mr. Tenor, Ironbear. Oh, I like that. Welcome, friends. Welcome to Braxton Manor. Lady Braxton has been sampling the punch already, or else another strong drink. She's properly oiled up. Allow me to point out some of the esteemed company you'll be keeping this evening. There's Sir Willard Rathbone, animal lover. He loves the furry deers a little too much, if you take my meaning.
I dearly hope I don't.
And Dr. Clancy Wainwright, a talented surgeon and pharmacologist, though one wonders how much of the drugs in his lab end up in the hands of his patients. Baseless accusation as far as I'm aware, though the good doctor has been known to play lab rat for himself time to time. Over there we have Sir Alfred Cornham Boyle, author of escapist literature for the masses. Is that supposed to be Arthur Conan Doyle, isn't it? Or author of Sherlock Holmes, amongst other things. I suppose we should be thankful they can read at all. And Lady Annabella Bryan, the one with the famous father. Pity she never amounted to much herself, mind you. Is that all? Is the bloodbath over? She has quite the sharp tongue. Well, those are some of our more notable attendees. Whew, I'm getting dizzy. Is there anything else I can get you? Self-service for the drinks just over there. May I ask, will Lord Braxton be making an appearance this evening? Silas is out tinkering in his workshop, the guest house in the back gardens, as is his wont. He's going to make a big announcement later on that all the guests simply must hear. Oh, I just can't wait to find out what it is. 50-50 on this. About our workshop in the guest house. Do I detect a note of discontent, Lady Braxton? Hey. I'm not discontent. I simply don't care a whit for Silas's strange hobbies and inventions. Nor do I understand everyone's endless fascination with steam. It's hot water. Mist. Anyway, it is a wonderful excuse to throw a party. Did I hear that his party is to feature an unwrapping? Oh yes, we have several ancient artifacts from the time of the pharaohs, including, well, a stone, a few other things. Just look around and you'll see. But as you say, that's not even the best part. She sways a little in place, eyebrows raised, and waits for me to look appropriately anticipatory. We have a mummy! A real, genuine, dead Egyptian mummy! And the climax of the evening will be the unwrapping of our desiccated guest. As she conveys this information, Lady Braxton's demeanour can only be described as gleeful. How intensely ghoulish. Yet I must let it lie. Well, thank you for the gracious welcome, your ladyship. Oh, not at all. If you need anything, my servants will be glad to assist. And let me know if when they get surly.
Enjoy the party. Do let me know if you need anything.
Well, glad those formalities are done with.
Oh my, I do believe I spied the eccentric Mr. Rathbone over yonder. That's certainly a choice for the guest list.
He's hardly one to talk.
And oh, by my lucky stars, is that Babbage himself? Ah, no, my mistake. Quite the shrewd countenance on that chap, though. You can't blame a man for seeing the resemblance.
Miss Reed, I've not known you to be a wallflower. Shall I assume you're off to socialise?
Indeed. Have you any time to mingle on your own, or will you be keeping an eye on Tenor all evening?
Why, Miss Barney, of course. I've always been such a fan of her work.
There goes Tenor, off to make his mark on the London elite.
Ostensibly it is my job to keep an eye on Cunningham, but clearly he finds himself occupied. I can find some time to myself while he's otherwise engaged.
All right, Armbear, try to enjoy yourself.
Same to you, Clara.
Drat, that reminds me, I forgot to meet with Iron Bear at the tavern.
Oh, was that on my list?
Don't remember that. Then I won't be helping him collect those schematics, but something tells me he'll end up with them in any case. Any road is no matter. There's enough on my plate as it is. Right, time to get the lay of the land in here. So I don't remember having a task to meet him in the doodad. Yeah, all right. Let's I was trying to rotate the screen, but I can't do that. Let's have a look around. Somebody left a book here. I found there's at least something worthwhile in just about anything published. If only I had the spare time for reading that I had in my college days. The title reads The Tale of the Stable Boy and the Lusty Milkmaid. Oh. I'm certain it has value in its own way. Let's just glance at a passage, shall we? See, here the heroine is admiring the strength and posture of a horse and imagining how it must look to see it gallop. The next passage seems to be a treatise on animal husbandry, I hope. True, perhaps not every book has value after all. Let's try and keep our hope up. Though I may not agree with the author's goals, the book's readers now doubtless have a better understanding of equine anatomy. It's important to remember there are chances to learn anywhere you look. Have a look at the sarcophagus. I wonder which is more valuable, the Braxton estate or this priceless relic. When they say unwrapping, are they literally going to take the bandages off the mummy? Is that something they did in Victorian times? That's pretty grim if so. A pair of ancient Egyptians. Perhaps they were royalty, though royalty usually have fancier hats. Looks to be the work of an English mapmaker, seeing as the Empire's many colonies are prominently marked. If Silas wanted to go the extra mile, he could have had these victuals gold-plated. A collection of relatively cheap libations. Perhaps Silas reserves his more expensive bottles for himself. I was no surprise to see Sir Willard Rathbone here. Silas's penchant for audacious guests seems never to wane. Let's play into it. Let's curtsy and address him as Sir Rathbone. Sir Rathbone, it's a pleasure to see you again. Surely there's no harm in humouring his delusional knighthood. Everyone should indulge in a little nonsense now and again. Oh, fancy seeing you here, Miss Reed. Go on, Wally, say hello. Not a particularly friendly bird, is he? Oh, he has a brain that's larger than a walnut, but smaller than my own eyeball. Can you really fault him? Aha! Absolutely. Wallace has roughly the same intellectual capacity to qualify for the local magistrate. Might I ask how you know, Lord Braxton? Well, the upkeep and health of exotic animals vastly outweighs any profit they make in public venues. Lord Braxton is one of my more charitable patrons, you see. His financial aid keeps my humble zoo afloat and available to all. Which tacitly makes you beholden to him. Seems death is not merely a recurring theme in the party, but in the news as well. What are your thoughts on the courtesan killer?
Oof, nasty business indeed.
I trust you're referring to the killer's handiwork and not the unfortunate victims.
Oh, yes, my old dear, I didn't mean for my comment to come across as cruel. Well said, my boy. I may not agree with you and your fellow harlot's choice of work, but no person deserves to be slaughtered in so heinous a manner.
Self-righteous tosser.
My Wally can be quite the attack dog. If you ever feel your safety is compromised, perhaps you might burrow him and he'll trail behind you like a trained horse.
Oh, that's quite,
For a small fee, of course.
But of course. What are your thoughts on the theme of the ball in the main event?
Ah, Egypt, I really must get back there sometime.
You've been?
Oh yes, it's home to my favourite exotic bird. I said my favourite bird, Wally. You're my favourite exotic animal, bar none. Yes, home to the African grey parrot. They're so smart they only need listen to a sentence once before they can repeat it perfectly.
Fascinating.
As for the unwrapping event, I don't expect much other than bones and dust. That's what I found when I unwrapped a mummified cat during an expedition.
I remember reading that somewhere, though it sounded so far-fetched. Did they mummify their pets so that they might have their company in the afterlife? Fascinating.
Oh, not only company, but protection too. Wally, will you protect me when we cross over to the Choir Invisible? Oh, he's still sour about the favourite bird slip.
Oh well, ta-ta for now. Enjoy the rest of the party, Sir Rathbone.
Oh, you as well, my dear.
Dr. Wainwright? By the saints, it's Dr. Wainwright, the one Ivana interviewed by way of my assistance. He looks upset, glancing around as if to find someone to unload his worries upon.
Ah, hello, I'm Dr. Clancy Wainwright. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Clara Reed, a pleasure, sir.
Miss Clara Reed, well, I'm grateful for the company.
He seems particularly perturbed. Perhaps he needs another drink. Pardon me, Doctor, but you seem distressed. Is there something wrong?
Why, yes, in fact, there is something indeed wrong.
Oh, well, go ahead, Doctor, I'm listening.
You see, I'm the chief physician of the Bethnal House Sanitarium, and a most unfortunate event has occurred, or rather a series of events.
He takes a heavy breath, as if it hurts him physically to think of the subject.
Well, to put it simply, a number of my wards have been transferred.
Isn't that common for patients to go to other institutions for specialty treatment?
Well, yes, it does happen, but none of these transfers occurred under my approval. In fact, I was not consulted at all, and I'm the general director.
Oh, that's terrible. Where did they go?
Forgive my bluntness, but I suspect my own associate, board member at Bethnal House and our host here tonight, may have had a hand in the transfers.
You mean Lord Braxton? The doctor nods patiently, clearly feeling better having shared his concerns.
Naturally, when Lord Braxton extended an invitation to his soirée, I decided to attend, so that I might speak to him directly.
What was his explanation?
He has thus far evaded me. He will answer my questions before the night is done, however, be sure of that.
Well, best of luck. Best of luck with that, Doctor. Seems Silas is quite popular tonight. What do you think of the theme, Egyptian mummies and whatnot?
You know, I haven't given it a lot of thought, Miss Reed. I've had too much on my mind. But as far as the mummy goes, I suppose something that old isn't likely to carry anything catching, or I hope not.
Not even an ancient flesh-withering curse?
Oh, yeah, thank you for that. I needed a good laugh tonight. No, of the many maladies I've come across in my profession, a Pharaoh's curse isn't among them.
Tell me, Doctor, have you spoken to a woman named Ivana Orsini late? Ivana said the meeting went well. I wonder if the good Dr. Wainwright feels the same.
What? How did you know about that?
Oh, I have my ways.
Well, that's not at all alarming. One might start to suspect a conspiracy.
One might.
However, since there's no sense in hiding it, yes, I've spoken with the woman in question. Climbed right through the window, in fact, of the establishment I was patronizing.
Hard to admit to being ambushed in a brothel.
Showcasing a level of dexterity usually only seen in Lycans, it must be said, which makes me a fellow wonder.
Lycans, you say?
Any road, the interview did go as well as could be expected in the end. I don't mind a bit of good journalism, but I do like to share what I'm working on, when not confidential, of course.
Of course, I shall refrain from pressing further.
Much obliged, Miss Reed.
Nice speaking with you, Dr. Wainwright, but I must be going now.
Of course, Miss Reed. Best of luck in your endeavours.
Okay, we can talk to Tessica. Lovely to see you, Gingercake. Punctual as ever. You beat me to the party. In this case, seeing as Lord Braxton is a high-paying patron, it pays to be on time. But did you know there would be a mummy on display? I can't say I read the invitation closely. To be clear, I don't condone this sort of thing at all. But here we are, and there's not another ferry back to London until much later. Besides, if Lord Braxton is buying her work, then it pays Miss Lincoln to stay a while. And of course, you're here with Tenor. He must be loving the chance to rub shoulders with the London elite. How do you like the party? Well, it's all the better for seeing you. The feeling is quite mutual. This lot of blue bloods don't know how to throw a proper bash. Not like back at home. Indeed not, with the 400 carrying on like it's their God-given mission. Ironic, isn't it, that America should fight for independence only to establish their own nobility? I've never thought of it that way, but you're correct, of course. Very astute, Clara. Do you think of your husband often? Not as much as I used to, though of course I will always miss him. Moving to London was indeed the distraction I'd hoped. As it was for me, at least for a time. I had word about the Lancasters, you know. Apparently they've heard I'm in London and they've placed a bounty on my head. Saints, Clara, really? Why didn't you tell me? And to think that violent lout of a husband is trying to haunt you from the grave. Gilbert may have been a violent man, but I had the last laugh in that regard, did I not? Poison was a kindness for a man like that. There are always worse ways it could have been done. I may have made some friends in high places as of late, who would see me safe from the Lancasters' goons. I should hope so, with the sort of customers you cavort with. One would think you have a favour in your back pocket to spare. It was easier to amass such things when I ran with the bullfrogs, where my tactics were more varied. Even now, friends in low places can bring you some safety, Clara, if you let us. Perhaps she's right. It was nice to share a few words with Tessica, but I'd best be going now. Always a pleasure.
Oof, there's a lot going on in this room. Okay. We'll work round it. We'll talk to the people last.
If I had a book I treasured so much, I'd climb a ladder for it.
What did she say? Oh, she just said she'd keep it on the lowest shelf.
A great big block of stone carved with ancient Egyptian figures. The range and quality of Egyptian artifacts in Silas's possession is truly staggering. This one is quite worn, however. That may be the god Horus on the left, but it's hard to be sure. Books mostly related to science, chemistry and engineering, but also history, law and a few of the classics. Let's read about Breslavia on the subject of a lichen-run state. Full moons draw rowdy crowds in Breslavia. Such traditions reach back long before our modern incarnation of moon creams or other medical treatments. Dr. Smith, Victoria English, reports a rather festival-like atmosphere as people transmute into wolves, hunt down wildlife and run freely through the woods. Oh dear, such chaos! The government and infrastructure of Breslavia evolved with lycanthropes in mind, and so national infrastructure and precautions reflect this fact. Dr. Smith Victoria English, of course, reports being rightly terrified by such barbarity. Achilles, Iphis and modern Nereid inverts. The secluded nature of their culture, unlike the stalwart minotaur, the towering cyclops or the clever satyr, Nereids have remained isolationist. As Ovid writes of Iphis, or as Statius writes via the Achilleid, if it becomes Bacchus to trail a gold-embroidered robe behind him. The golden robe, how terribly gauche. Dionysus was saved by Thetis, and in some traditions his foster mother was made a goddess of the sea upon her death. Indeed, we might also look towards Bacchanalian tradition. Creating the divide, Meiji, Shinto and birth. We may yet see within our lifetime the utilization of divine providence. It is our duty to harness this elevation to the status of divinity for our own purposes, to control the force of documented miracles and the creation of new gods, that we may have that power for ourselves. The Philicae Eteria, the cult of Zeus, and the cost of the War of Independence. And from that great storm that divided the Mediterranean only decades ago. It is known that the Philicae Eteria utilized not only the power of Zeus, but that of Poseidon. That doesn't seem right. Weren't Zeus and Poseidon bitter rivals? Would they both have helped the same people? The Philicae restored that great temple of Zeus, elevating it to its perch atop Mount Olympus once more, wherein steam airships often docked. And of course we must discuss the matter of the irrepressible Lord Byron. Okay, step away from the bookshelf. Oh my, here's a piece I wouldn't mind having for my own. Now all I need is a ballroom to go with it. Bound to the wallflower. This one's unlikely to move from his spot of his own volition. For all his technological breakthroughs, Silas still seems rather fond of using time-tested heat sources.
Ah, Mr. Reed. Well, nice to see you again.
Greenstreet is shocked to see me here. It's written all over his face.
I don't suppose you brought your fee for passage that we spoke about earlier?
Afraid not. Perhaps I'll find a better offer here at the manor.
Well, I wish you the best of luck in your endeavour. Won't find any offers here that rival mine.
I think I'll be going.
Take care now.
A granite lion in its natural habitat, estates where wonders of the world are flaunted. A neat desk speaks of an ordered mind. Right, let's take a look at the mummy. Nobles will do anything to flaunt their wealth. That disturbs me more than this mummy. Got wine bear. Miss Reed, hope you're having a pleasant time. Now that you've had a while to take it all in, what do you think of the party? It is very different from any celebration I've seen at home, even unsettling. The guests seem uncomfortable, anxious, except those who have indulged too much in drink. They behave like fools.
Very astute. You've a keen eye for people. Have you taken a look at the mummy yet?
I have not, nor do I intend to. Only a madman would disturb the dead's rest. I understand that these people worship science above nature or tradition, but my heart tells me there must be consequences.
It's gruesome enough, I'll grant you that.
I have seen gruesome, Miss Reed. This is... He waves a hand vaguely, lost for words. It seems he's done talking.
Don't mind me, Spitfire. Just taking in Lord Braxton's mighty fine estate. Lord Almighty, who wouldn't want to live inside this humble little abode?
If this estate is humble, and I'm the Queen's lady-in-waiting.
You seem to be enjoying yourself?
Miss Reed, it is one place Tanner Cunningham will shine. It's at a party. And what a party. People from all over the world. These strange artifacts from ancient Egypt and...
An idea strikes him, and for a brief instant he looks like an awestruck child.
I'd almost forgotten the best part. My stomach's all aflutter about the guest of honor. Oh, I can't wait for them to unwrap that old-time luminary.
The talk of a mummy's curse doesn't bother you, then?
No, ma'am. Just some fairy tale English nonsense. Right superstitious sort of folk, if you ask me. Now, I've seen saints and magic men do some miraculous things, but a dead mummy magic? Oh, hogwash, my dear.
Oh?
Why, I bet this wrapped-up fellow was just a palace scribe or even some so-and-so off the street.
I don't think they used to mummify people like that.
Leastwise, that's what I gather from what I know of the mummy trade. Who's out there tabulating curses for the everyman?
That is a surprisingly sensible view of it, at least as far as curses go. Did you drum up any new business?
Young lady, if I'd thought to bring my deeds and papers with me, I'd already be richer by about £1,000. But the prospects are promising nonetheless.
Well, keep at it. Persistence is the key, and men like you never seem to run out of that.
I beg your pardon? That sounded like a barb, and I do believe that's just what you intended. You wound me, Spitfire.
To my surprise, the man does seem chagrined by my joke, an emotion I had not thought him capable of. Then he grins like a jackass and brays like one too.
Not to worry, Spitfire. Just pulling your leg. You know I'm like a rock in the red Texas sun. Couldn't burn me if you tried.
Well, Dove, I suppose I'd leave you to it.
All right, Spitfire. Go make the rounds. Don't worry about me. I'm just fine right here.
I've talked to everyone except the butler now. I suppose I'll talk to him. Is there something I can help you with?
I'm looking for another guest. I wonder if you might help me find Zora Levitch.
Oh yes, the woman in the lovely black dress. I believe she ventured into the back gardens for a bit of fresh air.
Oh, the back gardens? Thank you.
My pleasure, madam. How do we get out, then? I haven't seen any exits. Assume there's one in here. That's the front drive. Is there a... Oh, back gardens. Here we go. I didn't see that before, unless it's only opened up now because I spoke to everyone else. If Zora was involved in the murders, I'll have to confront her. If I leave the party, I might not have the opportunity to come back. Well, we've spoken with everyone, so head outside. I think we've read that, haven't we? Alright, well, oh, I can see Madame Zora. She's just over here, but I guess... Oh. There's Zora. I'd better speak to her while I have the chance. Oh, Clara, I was sure we'd run into each other. Madame Zora, may I have a moment of your time? Whatever it is, I shall have to wait. Sorry, whatever it is, shall have to wait. I must return inside. I'm afraid it can't wait. I've got some rather urgent questions for you. Now's not a good time. I'm quite busy. I've been investigating the murder at the Velvet Rose, as well as its connections to the other Corzan killer victims. Her brows knit with uncertainty, her eyes darting about to see if anyone overheard us. By yourself? Surely that's quite dangerous, is it not? Not alone. I'm working alongside an interested third party. Is that so? Several of their agents are in attendance at this party as well. Are they now? How good that you're not alone tonight. Have you any idea where Ivana is right now? Somehow Ivana Orsini is the key to all of this. In truth, I'd planned to meet her here. Surely you won't mind if I tag along? Perhaps the three of us could have a discussion. No, Miss Reed, I'm afraid that is quite out of the question. Then perhaps you could speak with me before she arrives. Very well, Miss Reed. What would you have of me? I think she's got to be... Okay, so it's not Sykes. We've ruled him out. Ivana was the one that told us about the secret room in Zora's house. There was the smell of her perfume at the murder scene. Ivana was the one, I think, who took herself off to the werewolf containment zone, so I think she's trying to control it. I reckon it's Zora. Madame Zora, I must confess the evidence does not present a flattering case for you. Perhaps it's best you provide with some real answers unless you'd like to answer to the bobbies. What a patently absurd accusation. Clara, you cannot truly think such things, surely. She looks suddenly off to the side. Hello, Zora? Miss Reed? Good heavens, is that Ivana? Ivana, how on earth did you get... I was just about to come speak with you. The personable Zora I spoke with is gone, her haughty professional demeanour returning with haste. You know, being a journalist has its advantages. The opulently wealthy do love fluff pieces on their events. Ivana seems in quite the hurry, tension evident in her every step. It's hard to see in the half-light, but... Clara, I'm sorry to pull Zora away, but she and I have matters to discuss. There's a lupine hunched to her shoulders, and no one could ignore the fur patches on her face. Partial transformation? Then it's true. Ivana is a werewolf. I prefer to come along. Madame Zora and I were just discussing... I assure you the privacy is not for me, but for Zora, unless you would prefer to have this discussion in front of Miss Reed. Very well, Ivy, lead the way. Ivana leaves as quickly as she came. You will wait here if you've any understanding of what is good for you, or if any regard for the safety of your person. I need to speak with Ivana alone. I've never seen her this disquieted. Now, goodbye, Miss Reed. Enjoy the rest of the party in our stead, won't you? God's teeth, I can't simply let them wander off. Regardless of the killer's true identity, these two are vital players in my investigation. Then I can't allow them to waltz off into the night. I can still catch up if I make haste. The man who can dominate a London dinner table can dominate the world. Chapter 15, we're picking up with Atticus at the manor. But I think we'll probably better leave it there for now. Makes sense with a new chapter coming up. I'll just say thanks very much for watching this. Hope you've enjoyed it. Everything's starting to converge a little bit now, it feels like, all the various threads that we've been pulling at throughout the rest of the game. Leading towards a conclusion of some sort, I would think. But yeah, if you could let me know in the comments what you think, if you enjoyed it, if you could hit the thumbs up button, both would be very much appreciated. You know, and if you're watching this and haven't already subscribed to the channel as well, it'd be great if you could do that too. So, thanks very much, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.